it's like those things, little or no discussion of things that are going to be happening. Sometimes they don't happen, sometimes they do happen, depending on how this thing develops and grows and materializes. Sometimes they don't materialize, you know? So I don't know if we could have a process, and like Mr. Joyce just said, it's not required, that everything that we do, like if I want to call the deputy mayor or call the administrator and have a question about some of these things, that we include the whole town at the same time. We never get anything done. You know, that's why we're elected. I think the people believe and trust us individuals up here are going to do the right job. And if we don't do the right job, hey, we're going to get booted out of here. We're not going to get reelected. So I guess that's kind of like the collection plate at church. You know, it's kind of a coincidence. It's right after the sermon, after the reading, after the sermon, at least in the Catholic Church. I'll say that. You know, people are upset with the pastor. They might not be donating so much unless they really appreciate or get something out of his message or out of his sermon.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you ask me a question?
Yes,
Let me
I
sit
want to
there
ask you
and
a
come on.
question. Were you a structural engineer? What was your engineering background?
Civil engineer with work in environmental
Okay,
arena.
answer my question. When you bid your spec and put your spec together,
Oh, I
did you
didn't do
get,
that.
wait a minute, when you put a spec together,
I didn't.
Okay.
I got technical people to do that. I was a project manager.
okay, so you were a project manager, okay, did you have, when you had the meeting and that spec was put together, did you get your electrical engineer to review it to make sure it was okay, or did you say, here's my civil spec, this is what has to be done? And the electrical engineer put his spec together and said, okay, this is what we have to put in there, this is the steel that's got to be erected. You didn't have each discipline reviewing everybody's spec. They worked with it when the plan was put
They
together.
did their part of it.
They did their part of it,
Right.
but they didn't look and approve everybody else's part.
That's
This
true.
is no different. This is no different. I worked for an engineering company for 31 years, I know, okay? I understand the process. This is no different. This is a document that's put together, given to all the gentlemen here to review. They have comments, the comments come back, the documents are modified, and then when they get to that meeting, they say, do you have any questions? If there are no questions, the document as presented will be, but everybody and the brother doesn't get a chance to say, now what did you write there and how did you do that? Because it's just not done, because if you want anything to get accomplished, you can't do that process. If you wanted to build whatever you were building, if you had everybody doing what you're suggesting, you would never have built anything in your life. And you know that.
Okay, but I don't think you're sort of comparing apples
Well,
and
I'm not
oranges.
comparing apples and apples, because the point is, everybody has their job to do. At the end, all the documents are there for everybody to look at and decipher.
Okay, big difference though, you're public officials. You work for us. And what I'm trying to say is, kind of like,
What's the
let
Navy?
us in a little
What's
bit.
the Navy?
What's the Navy?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what's the Navy?
Public entity?
Yeah,
Well, you work for us then too.
not anymore, but yeah.
Well, you did.
That's what I got used to.
But you did.
Under government.
But you
And
did.
believe me, I went to public meetings and I had to answer to the public. I had to answer to the DEP. I had to answer to the
Actually,
EPA. I had to answer to my
can I say
customers.
this? We're giving you answers. You may not agree with the answers, but we're trying to give you the answers, okay? We're giving you the answers of how we conduct business. So hopefully, you know, it's good for you. I think other people out here may or may not accept the answers, but this is the way it's done. So keep coming to the meetings and we'll work together and keep on asking questions. We'll try to educate you as much as we can. And like last week or last meeting, when that thing came up about the videotaping, okay, but questions being asked and concerns, it changed the way that developed. You know, this is our process. It's a beautiful thing here in the United States. It's a beautiful thing here in Pennsylvania. So you're doing your duty, we're doing our duty.
I could be devil's advocate on that point, but let me move on to something. I did have another question.
We also have a 5-minute thing,
But this is
but
a
we
different
went over
question.
that.
I can sit down and come
You
back.
don't get 5 minutes of question. Come on, hurry
Okay,
up.
the other one had to do with the feasibility study on the master plan.
Mhm.
I think I had a week or two or whatever that was, a month ago, I had brought up, I got a copy of the master plan, and then Mr. Husky had said, geez, there's a feasibility study that was done in '03.
I didn't say 03, I didn't give you a date. I didn't give you a date. I just told you what the process was, how things were done.
I just sworn I heard 2003, but whenever it was, I'm trying to get a copy of the feasibility study, and it seems that it doesn't exist.
The
at least-
feasibility study could have been done somewhere in that process. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, Gene mentioned to me, I haven't had a chance to even look because I don't know if I have to look. Are you asking me to look?
I was asking for a copy of the
No,
feasibility.
I contacted Mr. Adams, because I explained to Lonnie that I did not understand.
Hold on, time. Was there an open request made?
No, that's the next question I was going to ask.
Was there
Yes.
an open request
Yes.
made for the feasibility study?
Yes,
Was there?
yeah, I did that a couple days ago.
So let's find a
You have to give us,
feasibility
then I'll
study.
give you a feasibility study.
Would you know if it is specifically on the Delaware River development
Yes.
part of it, not the whole master plan?
No. Because what happens is, when you had that master plan comes out, the township committee takes a look and say, well, what can you possibly do? They decided, whenever that was, that the waterfront would be the place that they would like to have it. So what you have is a determination of need is performed. After the determination of need, you come up with a redevelopment plan, which is an overlay of the existing zoning plan. So then you decide to do that, then that has to be heard in the public, in the planning board, and that goes on for months and months and months. When that is all done, you can have a feasibility study done to see if it's even viable to do what you want to do.
Right.
Then you have a plan to put out there. Then you try to find somebody who can spend the money, and by then, you have environmentalists come along and blow the whole thing up. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that was a
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, Mr. Grahusky.
As a follow-up to that, though, I would urge the township committee to do an update on the master plan. It should have been done twice now since 1998. I think
Can I ask you why?
because it would reflect today's conditions of what we can do to improve the town.
Would you allow this township committee to raise your taxes accordingly to do that?
Why are you picking on just that one item to raise my taxes?
Well, I'm just talking about that, but that's part of the overall budget. And every time we add something to the budget, like the governor taking money away or imposing additional mandates on us, those taxes are put on to the taxpayers here. These guys are trying to lower the taxes, they didn't even raise it. They were $500,000 below what they could have done.
I think I'll answer this question from just me personally. There's nothing happening. The economy is down, the lowest it's been since the Depression. Would that be wasting good money at this point until things start to break and start to grow? Because even if we had a feasibility study to do something, it might come back saying, you're really wasting your money in doing this report at this time because there's nobody out there buying homes. We're talking about the waterfront update, that would be a big part of the plan. There's nobody buying homes, there's nobody investing in anything. People are losing jobs. We have a good amount of our citizens in this town that have lost their jobs, have difficulty paying their bills and their mortgage. I would say right now, I would be very reluctant to even entertain that at this point until things got a little bit better and made some kind of sense. So that's just my personal opinion.
But wouldn't it make sense to have something in your back pocket that when things do start to turn around, you can begin to implement rather than now you got to go do a study, now you got to get...
Feasibility studies are based upon what people can
Well, I was just talking about
project or
updating
see.
the master
But the
plan.
point is, when these studies were done before, the economy was in a boom time, and everybody was building. So you look at it now, what are they going to tell us? They're going to tell you to wait and maybe...
I don't even know if it's
work?
mandated. It seems like it's mandated by the state. I'm not sure what that regulation is that they cite in the master plan, if that's actually you must or you should, or I don't really know.
See, that's the problem with the state. The state comes along and says, I didn't raise your taxes, but the municipality says, you must do this, or you must pay me this. And then you have to absorb that taxes and pass it on to the people. And the people say, look, the state didn't raise, what do you raise my taxes for? Well, the state did raise your taxes, but they're mandating all these things to us. And we're trying to avoid that. That's part of the problem.
I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Donna Zuba, 7665 Buttermilk Avenue. You had said that the communication between yourselves, like you going to Ed and Ed, whatever, is that done through email or through phone lines?
Phone calls?
Phone calls? Okay.
Some people might email, but I do. When I talk to people.
To answer your question, I'm going to answer your question. We leave an opening on that thing. There is no way that this committee here deals with emails. Does not. Okay?
Okay.
And we've already put that, Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
Did we not send that out? And there was what? How many emails was sent? one, and it was something that I sent to them.
Secondly, you had said, when I had said about putting the videotaping of this on Channel 19, you said you had to ask the school
I
board.
said maybe they would have to get together and coordinate with the school district.
For what reason? I don't, could you explain that statement to me?
Yeah, because the facilities are located in the school. I don't think they would have any problem with anything being put on there as this, so just as a common courtesy to talk to them, this, that, whatever.
Because Channel 19 is controlled by the township.
I understand,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, and that's why I couldn't understand why it's not like you're going in to use the facility. You're taking the tape from here and plopping it in.
Okay, again, Donna, but,
Okay.
you know, let's review what we've been through with this whole thing about taping and whatnot, okay? People, when they made a request, they wanted to tape, we currently didn't tape at the time, we're taping now, and as I said to Miss Joanne Young at the last meeting, we're gonna hit some speed bumps, and we're gonna have to do some things, iron out some wrinkles in this process until it gets done correctly, okay? And as far as, you know, could we do it, I would have to discuss with the other guys here. I'm not arbitrarily going to say at a meeting, yes, we're going to do it, or this, that, whatever. It's like explaining the process to Lonnie. That'll follow in the same process. And I think, too, in dealing with the people up at the school district, I know there's certain people out there, Mr. Taylor, in his capacity before he retired, he reviewed everything that went on Channel 19 from the school perspective, this, that, whatever. But then again, it is Channel 19, it is our town, this, that, whatever, and I think we have a nice cooperative thing going, that the content that's put on there is something that's positive and wholesome. And in doing things, we always talked about what's going on, what's not going on in the past, okay? Nothing mandated, nothing this or this, that, whatever, just a common courtesy.
And Mr. Joyce, when the ordinance goes back out, it will come back out where it has to be published in the paper again, like from the very beginning.
I said that, I said
Okay,
that.
I
We're gonna
wasn't
start,
sure if it was just the first reading.
we're gonna start from scratch, so everybody has plenty of time, ample time to see it, be notified, so nobody, we
that
go
was-
through this process
I'm
again.
sorry. And that was my second question. Is our township newspaper still the Inquirer and the Retro?
Yes.
Not the Inquirer.
No, not the Inquirer.
The Courier and the-
I'm sorry, the
Not
Courier.
No,
The
not
Courier.
use the
Wait,
Inquirer.
I'm sorry, the Courier Post and the Retro.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I've noticed that the Courier is not carrying a lot of our legal notices. I was just wondering, do
We have
they?
to advertise on one.
Yeah, when you have to, okay, thank you, that's what I was gonna ask, thank you.
All right, come on up.
Joanne Young, 6582 Park Avenue. Who in the township got a 3.75 increase this year?
Who in the township got 3.75?
Or who didn't?
Who didn't?
Okay.
Well, contractually, who got that, Ed? It was the,
Everybody but the chief, the police.
Everybody, I mean, the office workers, everyone.
Mhm.
And was it a 3-year contract or is it a yearly contract?
Now, you're confusing two things. The police, the firemen, and the EMS and ASME are in the second year of a 3.75 contract. The non-contractual people did not get what did they get last year?
Last year, they only got 3, I think it was less than a 3.
Less than a 3, and they started paying into their
They
West
pay
Bay
1.5% and
Well,
1.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's important contractually with the police and the firemen, you know, we were contractually obligated to do certain things, and we're in constant touch with them based on current economic environments and to as reasonable as prevail. But when it comes to the non-union workers, it's very important to understand, and I'm speaking with a business hat on here, not as we asked those people to do last year to take furlough days in addition to be paying for a larger percentage of their
medical
benefits and things of that nature.
When you
Factor in, let me finish, when you factor in the furlough days to these people who we also did not hire 47 people this year and asked them to take on double duties,